I checked on Orbit, and if you booked June 27 to July 1, those travel dates, the lowest fare from Fort Lauderdale to Grand Bahama is something like $259. The average fare is $340. When we launch the service with Vision Air, we will have fares of $99 round trip from Fort Lauderdale into Grand Bahama. The customer will be able to shop and purchase tickets for two traveling that will net a saving of just under $300. That's $300 for them to spend in Grand Bahama. That's a huge opportunity for Grand Bahama in South Florida. But going further up, the gap gets much bigger. Today, Louisville to Grand Bahama is not non-stop. It takes you about 9 hours to get here. The round-trip airfare, the lowest round-trip airfare, is $663 per person. When we begin the service with Vision Airlines, the round-trip airfare will be under $300. This is a saving in excess of $540 per booking. That's money that they are realizing to pay for services in Grand Bahama. That's huge. Richmond, $275 round trip come November. But today the lowest fare is $664, and it takes you forever to get there. You'll get here in an hour and 35, hour and 40 minutes. Today it takes you about 9 hours to get here one way. A partnership between the public and private sector, between the Grand Bahama Island Tourism Board. I thank Magnus for his effort, he and his team, Redbud and Denise, working with our team here, headed up by Karen, supported by Terrence and the Rock and the others. Our other partners, Alakaya, the hotel, the port group, the airport, led by Gary and Ram, supported by James and others in the hotel end. We decided that we were going to wake up. About 2.5 months ago, we sat down and said, it's high time we stop looking elsewhere, looking for love in all the wrong places, and said, let's do something for ourselves, because no one likes listening to losers, but everybody wants to join winners. So let's take Grand Bahama's biggest asset, its proximity we can restore. Suddenly, it's quicker to get here than anywhere else in the Bahamas. And two, the price reflects the proximity for the first time in more than 12 or 15 years. So we're in the game, and we're in a game that we should win. And so I call on all the people in Grand Bahama to wake up to this challenge, and let's simply make it happen. We have a great partnership. We have a team that should not and cannot lose. So on that note, I go back to Kieran to bring on the heavy hitters.
Let's not give points to people who predict rain. Let's give points to people who build arcs. We spent a long time talking about the fact that one of the things we had with Grand Bahama, it is uncompetitive by air. It has been for a very long time. And all of the research you begin to take a look at, the customer is doing something that is remarkable. They're trying to find the lowest cost way to get to a place they want to enjoy. And they would rather spend their money enjoying themselves as opposed to spending their money getting there. And so when we begin to do something with a vision, we begin to find that our interests converging with the customer. Because now they're beginning to enjoy this wonderful visual that David said that he could send back to people. They all say, wow. And during the course of waiting before this press conference, I had the opportunity to sit with David Years from Vision and to find a remarkable convergence of some of the things that we talk about always in the Ministry of Tourism. People love to run commercials with people running through meadows and on the beaches and having a wonderful time. Then when you put the price up, they go away. The fact is that in today's world, the customer wants all of that, but they want it at the right price. And we are now putting a point that I think is so very important. If you come into the Ministry of Tourism and you're asking about our strategies, our number one strategy is very simple: to have the cost to get to the Bahamas reflected, have the proximity of the Bahamas reflected in the price to get here. Because if you don't do that, you may as well take the entire country and push it down south someplace else, because that's where the prices are very similar. And when we start talking about Grand Bahama, there is no question whatsoever that one of the great features of Grand Bahama, particularly from South Florida, is its proximity and the capacity for people to come over here. And when you start talking about $99 airfares, all of a sudden now it's an impulse decision, it's not a considered decision. Because that makes a world of difference to the number of people who come and how frequently they come. Because the other thing which I remind people about is that when we start looking at visitor counts, it is not different people each time. In many cases, you get the price right, it's the same customer coming back and back and back again. And one of the things that precipitates that is price. So we've come down to Grand Bahama, we've been to the Bahamas Business Outlook, and we complain about the fact that one of the problems we have, and many people in Grand Bahama don't like to hear what I'm about to say, but there's a very simple fact, is that when people look at the Bahamas, and they can go to a place called Nassau and Paradise Island for a price that's less than coming to another place in the Bahamas, they still go back home and say, we went to the Bahamas. In order to be much more competitive for Grand Bahama, we need to be competitive in the area that we're talking about today. So it's, I certainly would like to congratulate all the people who've been involved in this, really starting with David Johnson, the Director General. There's no question that he sat down and decided, you know, we have to fix this, and found a way for us to begin to fix it. Second of all, thanks to David Mears for being here and for his very kind words regarding his experiences here, because we like to believe that we have the kind of quality people that he described. We know we do, and it's wonderful to see that. And also to have a partner in the port people here. The wonderful thing is now the convergence of everything in one, and certainly James Turner's involvement in this on the tourism side is something to be applauded. And we are delighted by the kind of partnership that we continue to brag about, and also we seem to be recognized for by many people in this region. We have, without a doubt, the best private-public sector partnership you will find anywhere in this region in terms of coming together and getting things done, and that's something that is we're quite delighted by.
I had a very easy job. I put a signature on a memorandum of understanding. I would like to highlight the two persons who have put in the most in this job. It is our Director General, David Johnson. Now, as we all know, David is a Bahamian, but he's more than that. He's a Grand Bahamian. And I don't know who is in charge of those honorary Grand Bahamian citizenships anymore, but he deserves one. And in front of the Minister, I would like to say that we don't like to see him going to Nassau so often. We want him here more often. And please don't say that we can as long as we pay, because I'm not sure that we can actually do that this time. The other person I would like to highlight is James Turner from the Freeport Harbor Company, from Hutchinson. James is one of these people who has gone from public sector, semi-private sector to private sector, but he's still doing exactly the same thing. And it shows that you can actually continue to serve the purpose of the destination, even though you're changing the bosses a few times around. So thank you for everything you have done, James. Then, of course, I would like to acknowledge David Mears from Vision. And I would like to say that this is more than a partnership. This is a marriage. We all know that a lot of these deals with airlines are being done all over the region. And very often it's pay, pay, and pay on the destination side, and there is no sharing in the risk. And that's what I think most people would agree to me, which is something like having a mistress or a sweetheart. You just have to keep on paying and you don't really know what you get. Now this is much more than that, because this is actually somebody who is sharing in both the downside as well as the upside. And that is to me a healthy marriage. And I'm sure everybody would agree with me that a healthy marriage is better than anything else at any given day. So David, thank you very much for sharing in this and taking such a part that you are doing. We are welcoming you to Grand Bahama, and we hope that this will be a long and fruitful marriage. Thank you very much.